Hey everyone, how's it going? So I went cutting this weekend with the Homelite. I gotta be honest, like this thing needs more power for sure. So I'll show you what I was cutting because I've had these logs drying for about probably a little over a year. They're big. It was a big Florida. I had two Florida live oak logs that I've been drying. So this is about just a little over a foot wide. So two big logs off a tree that had come down in a storm, or that high, that wide. So decent sized logs. Again, they're wider than this entire bar, which is problematic at first. But I just want to see if it would cut in. I got to be honest. I put it in for the cut. Here started to go down, and when the whole bar was in, it lost basically all of its power. It wanted to pull though. I held the saw real light and I went full throttle, and it started to pull down, which is a good sign. But it just didn't have the power it needed to get through this wood. This is a real hard wood, especially as it dries. Again, it's Florida live oak, which I think I've heard it nicknamed like ironwood before. And I mean, it definitely, there's some spots I can't even put a divot in with my fingernail, so real hard wood, but real quality wood though, so that's why I wanted to cut it, because I want to use it for some furniture. I'm thinking that I might use this piece to make a, what's it called, like a molding plane. But yeah, anyway, so I had to switch to Husqvarna. It was a Husqvarna 455, I think, Rancher. And that one struggled too, and that one's just stock. That one's just out of the box, and that was struggling to get through the wood too. That one had a little bit longer bar, I think just an 18-inch bar. I think this one has a 16. I could be wrong about that. But the Husqvarna has I think an 18 or 20-inch bar somewhere on there, and it was struggling in the middle of of this log. I don't know why. The wood is just really tough. That one's completely unmodified though, so I had to finish the job with that. This one didn't. This one couldn't do it. So that tells me what I wanted to know though. Basically, is I already know I was going to port it, but now I know kind of what we need to go and what we need to get our numbers up to. Obviously, in the future, I'm going to get a longer bar for this, at least over 20. I like to be in mid-20s with this to see if it can pull it. But we need to do a lot of work to this to make it up to spec. This is a light duty saw, as I've seen it work now. I was messing with the tune a whole bunch, but I could not, it just didn't have the power. It's just too light duty of a saw to get through what I was trying to cut. As long slabs as they were, I was just draining gas, and so I think I know what we need to do, guys. So it'll be an exciting, oops, soil cap is off. It'll be an exciting port job for this saw for sure. We're going to try to we need to get more torque out of this thing, and maybe kick the RPMs a little more. But when I was cutting this weekend just for a little bit, I instantly, as soon as I put it in the saw, we're going to say, yeah, this thing needs more power. The carburetor also was spitting back a little fuel, so I got to look into that too. Not very much, but a little was puddling in this air case here, so I'll have to look at that. Again, I think it's just my tune. I think I just have to keep messing with it. This is an old saw. I mean, there's just going to be some kinks that have to work out. So, but for now, I think I know what I need to do to begin the porting work. Again, I wanted to build this saw up to get through these logs primarily. Couldn't get through the logs, so we have the benchmark now. So now I have to do some research on, I'm going to get the timing numbers. Once I get the timing numbers, we're going to take it apart and port it, and then rebuild it, and then get the new numbers, and then go from there and see what we can do. But again, this thing, it wanted to pull. It was pulling the saw down, which was a good sign. So I think there's a lot of potential if we can squeeze some more torque out of this and give it some more power overall. Don't have to buy any. All the parts are good. No parts are needed. So I gotta just, I just gotta do the porting work. We'll have to go from there. I already know that I'm gonna have to expand the intake port or the exhaust port quite a bit, at least a few degrees probably of what's it called? Exhaust aeration. What is that called? I'm pretty new. I have it written down somewhere in the bag behind me. Intake timing, exhaust. I forget. I have to look at the notes. Yeah, this is my first time porting a chainsaw. I ported the weed whacker, but very unofficially, very hacky, but I did it. So yeah, I'm excited for that. But yeah, this Florida live oak. So I have about five or six of these slabs. So real thick, about probably 1.5 inches width. So I'm gonna send them through my planer, surface them up as best as I can, and then probably just save them until my next project. I like to use it for drawer fronts. That's what I had in mind for these 2 logs, because live oak has a real interesting grain pattern, and it's got some cool kind of imperfections to it that I think would make nice drawer fronts for whatever we're trying to do. I don't have enough to make drawers fully with, that's why they have to be drawer fronts, and I don't have enough to make a piece. So I think they'll be good use. I'm always looking for interesting drawer fronts, because especially if you can book match them. In Florida, live oak is just kind of a unique species of wood down here. So I think that's what we're going to do. So once I surface that, I'll put some content up, and then we can see. This weekend though, I picked up a few tools. If you saw that, one of which being I'm excited. I've been looking around for one of these blades for a while, and I found one. So this is a bow saw blade, or otherwise, or you can call it a frame saw, anything like that. So I have the frame saw parts down there. The wood's kind of bad, and also the hardware was bad too. So I have to unseize the bolt, the tension rod. So if I can't unseize that, then I might have just get a new one. That's like standard equipment. You can get that in the hardware store. I just needed the blade, because the blade is really where you're gonna get, like, you can't. That's not really a common purchase, this kind of blade. I'm sure you can, but it's probably not gonna be cheap. So I got this for like $8. So you need, the 2 holes on either side. And also this is a long one too. You want as long as you can for these bow saws, because that's really where you're gonna see the difference. I want it primarily for resawing. So I want to get a frame saw so I can resaw this live oak, because my bandsaw doesn't have the power at all. It would stop like as soon as it started to saw. So I need the frame saw to be able to resaw down, hopefully, of that. So that's why I got it. So that will be a task in and of itself to resaw this, if I decide to, because if they're going to be drawer fronts, I probably need about half this. So you need at least 3/4 inch for drawer fronts, especially if you're doing any kind of dovetails, like half-blind dovetails especially. You need that extra thickness to make them a little more sturdy, at least in my opinion. Tomorrow from this video, when I'm recording this video, the new chainsaw should be coming in. So I'm not telling you what it is yet. I put a poll up there. It looks like a few people have gotten back on it, which is cool. So thanks for clicking, submitting, whatever the response is on that. So yeah, hopefully it comes in tomorrow. I checked it, should be. So I'm really excited to open that and just see where to go from. So I'm gonna try to, because it'll be nice too, because I'm gonna have to order some stuff. So when I'm waiting on the parts, I can do the porting work on this. So we should get a pretty consistent stretch of content here coming up for the next few weeks. So that's good. That's what I wanted. I wanted to be able to plan some more content for sure. I don't think it's going to be as challenging of a build as the Homelite, but I think finding parts, surprisingly, is going to be the challenge on this one. I wasn't expecting it to, I wasn't expecting to have such difficulty finding parts, but that's what we're looking at. So we will see. So hopefully the porting work lasts us a little bit. If not, I'm going to do some woodworking stuff. Believe it or not, so at not the antique store that I got the bow saw and the 2 planes, which you see up there on a video, I found a Homelite. I think it was an XL12, believe it or not. One of you guys keeps talking about that, the XL12. I found one at an antique store, but it was like half an antique store. It was like a tree farm, and they had like a little store that they sold like some just old like farm tools and just some like random other junk like that and stuff. But they had on some random shelf like a super mint Homelite. Uh, every single parts. It had the original. Uh, it had the original spikes, the falling spikes, which is pretty rare for those Homelites. It was blue. It didn't look like it had a scratch on it. So I found a guy. I'm like, hey, like, is this saw for sale? Because it didn't have a tag on it. He didn't know, so he had to find somebody else. But of all things, the saw was not for sale. I was super bummed because if I could have picked that up for a reasonable price, I for sure would have. It was the nicest condition Homelite that I have seen online anywhere. I mean, this was a really good condition Homelite, but this thing was in. It didn't look like it was used. It was in such good condition, had all the parts. We couldn't, but it wasn't for sale. So, figures the one thing that I asked for at an antique store is not for sale. Like, I was really surprised because the Homelites, like, I don't think you're gonna find them down here, especially. I just think from what I've seen, they're a little more rare down here. So I was very surprised. But maybe in the future they'll sell it. I don't know. I'm not expecting that, but it was cool to see one out, just out and about. Like I was not expecting to find a chainsaw at a tree farm, but who knew? It's fun finding like stuff like that, guys. Like I feel like you can always find it online, but there's something about it. Like if you stumble across something at a store, and you can get it, it just makes it a lot more fun. Or if you just find one that you can go meet up and get it like a garage sale, yard sale. I don't know. That makes it fun. Typically, the saws that you like. I don't know. It seems like at garage sales and stuff around here, you're only gonna find like the box store like Poland saws or Craftsman saws, which are not really what I'm trying to go for. So and they're typically expensive. People are selling them for like. I saw a Poland being sold for $50, but it was sitting in its case halfway full of water. And the saw itself is not expensive, so I'm like, I'm gonna pass on that one probably. I mean, it's all just like I don't know. I'm sure you can make it good, but that's not really what I'm trying to go for. One thing I will comment on this Homelite, like this thing has so much compression. I mean. I say that because I'm thinking I want to do a base gasket delete on this saw, guys. I want to see what happens. So I might do that just for fun, but this thing already has a ton of compression. I mean, we'll see. I'm trying to squeeze. I got to squeeze out as much power as I can out of the saw. So we'll go from there. Anyway, guys, new chainsaws coming in. Lots of cool content coming up on this stuff. So. Appreciate everyone watching. All right, have a good one, guys. See you.